Marhaba. My name is Saed Rahwanji.
أهلا وسهلا. My name is Rima Halboni.
Hello everyone, my name is Lujain Al-Khawi.
I want to welcome you to the Arab American Association of Engineers and Architects Capital Area Comedy Night featuring Amer Zahr. The event is about 45 minutes and it's free for everyone to attend using social media and will be broadcasted live on Facebook to many people.
We're hoping this event brings smiles and laughter to all of you who are live streaming here with us tonight. During this difficult time with COVID-19, this is a fundraising event, and all donations and proceeds that you all generously give will go to support those who are on the front line fighting this terrible virus and also those who are struggling and affected by it. I'll now pass it on to Lujain, who's one of our board members.
Thank you, Rima. I was first introduced to this organization when I won the scholarship in 2018. With this scholarship, I was able to pursue my engineering career. Later, I joined the executive board in 2019 to participate in the amazing work that our organization does. I urge eligible college students to apply for the scholarship and be involved with the organization in the future. By joining, you will gain valuable leadership skills and be able to contribute to your community.
Amazing, Lujain. I hope those of you who are watching are inspired to apply for the academic scholarship. I would like to direct your attention to all of our guests on your screens right now. As a national, hi everybody. As a national organization, we have members from Illinois, California, Pennsylvania, and Texas, and of course, our capital area. And now, I would like to welcome the comedian, the lawyer, the artist, and our friend, Amer Zahr.
All right. Hi, everybody. Good evening, man. I'm so happy to be with everybody here, and especially the Arab Association of Engineers and Architects. They have been big supporters of me. And throughout the night, you're going to see a link down here somewhere, hopefully, that AAAEA DC.com. Give to them tonight. It's tax deductible. We made sure we cleared that with the FBI, and everything is going to be a lot of fun. You know, we're living in a weird world here now. It's crazy. We've all been stuck in our houses. I live here in Dearborn, Michigan. I know a lot of you have heard of Dearborn, Michigan. I often refer to it as the Arab Disneyland. I don't know if anyone's ever been here, but you got to come visit. If you haven't been here before, come visit. It's the only place where you can get Yemeni coffee, Iraqi kebab, Lebanese sweets, and Palestinian conversation all in the same day. And but now everything's closed. You know, everything is closed, and I'm so sad. I'm walking around. You know, I drive around Dearborn, and you know, we have this park called Warren Avenue, which is that's where everything is. You know, if people have been to Dearborn before, they've seen it, and everything's closed. And it's just so sad. It's like being at Disneyland and all the rides are closed. You can't go anywhere. You see them, but you can't ride anything. And so Dearborn is beautiful when everything's open, but when it's closed, you know, it's basically Oklahoma. It's not a great place to be. But Dearborn is my home. Now, I do have one message to say because I don't want to talk too much about Dearborn, but I will say this. It's such a beautiful place, man. All Arabs are here, and they get a bad rap. Okay, people watch the news. You know, Dearborn is like a buzzword on Fox News all the time. I mean, they talk about Dearborn at least a couple times a week. That's where, like, you know, Sharia law and the no-go zones and all that. And none of that is true. None of that is true. People here in Dearborn are just, you know, living their life like there's no Sharia law. Okay, Arabs came from the Arab world to America to get away from too much religious persecution and religious. You know, they want to be able to do whatever they want. I've never seen Sharia law in Dearborn. The only Sharia law I have ever seen in Dearborn is that the strip clubs have halal chicken. It's true. I mean, look, I'm not mad at the strip club owner. He's just doing business. He's just conducting business. He is responding to his customers. Okay, that's all he's doing. All right, and you know how that had to happen. That had to happen by like an Arab one day comes into the strip club and he's just, he's sitting down and the waitress says to him, "What would you like?" And he says, "Let me get a lap dance with that girl I had last time. The blonde one with the, And one more question. Has the chicken been religiously certified halal? Because if it has not, I don't think I can eat it." Yes. And let me also get one Johnny Walker Black on the road. I mean, it is a great, great, great place to be. And Dearborn Dearborn now, every day, more Arabs are moving into Dearborn. Dearborn started, like every day, a white family moves out, a Lebanese family takes their spot, and a Yemeni family takes the spot of the Lebanese family that moved from a different part of Dearborn to kick out the white family. It's beautiful. And it's so much history. There's so much history and so much diversity in Dearborn. The truth is we have about, 40 churches. And every time I walk by a beautiful church, I just look at that and I say, wow, that is going to be a beautiful mosque one day. But we do now live in this world of Corona and COVID-19. It's crazy. I don't know what to say. We are in literally the worst situation that we could be in because of our president of the United States. I don't like to say his name too much, but Mr. Trump, as the Arabs call him, Trump or Kushner. Trump or Kushner. Now, I'm Palestinian. For those people who don't know, I don't think it's a big mystery. I'm Palestinian. I wear this key of return all the time. And I was in Palestine in the summer. I never say that I visit Palestine. I always say that I return to Palestine whenever I'm there. And I was there in the summer. And you guys who are with me in the audience, you remember in the summer when they were having that meeting in Bahrain? You remember that?
Yep.
They're having a meeting in Bahrain, and it was a meeting about us. But we weren't there. It was about us, but we weren't there. And Trump or Kushner, look, Kushner, he has a plan. Okay, they have a plan. It's not a good plan, but they do have a plan. Okay, they have a plan. Their plan works like this. They think that we Palestinians one day are going to have to sign some agreement that we don't totally like, and that's probably true. And they think that in order to get us to sign that agreement, they have to get one of our friends to push us to sign the agreement. And that might be true too. But Trump and Kushner, they think that this friend is Saudi Arabia. Now, here's the problem. We're not really friends with them. We don't really like them that much. Okay? We're not friends with them. If you want to convince us to do something that we might not want to do, pick somebody that we like, like Iran or Hezbollah.
Well, okay.
Or Gigi Hadid. If Gigi Hadid told me to sign it, I would sign it. We find ourselves in a weird time, man. And this deal of the century, you saw this deal of the century. I mean, this is the world that Palestinians are in now. And I don't know. See, the Israelis don't understand us. I know there's a lot of people out there watching now who are Palestinian refugees, or they're in Palestine maybe now watching on Facebook, or they grew up in Palestine. We have people here on the audience with us who grew up in Palestine or from Palestine. See, they don't really understand Palestinians very much. I can tell the Israelis, and there's many Israelis watching right now, I'm sure, and welcome. And to all the FBI agents out there watching the stream, welcome to our show. We're very happy to have you here. But they don't understand us. Listen, I was in Ramallah over the summer. Now, one thing you have to understand about Palestinians is we are total overachievers. okay? All Arab Americans are overachievers because we have to do more. We have to do twice as much to get half as far. We all know that. And Palestinians are like special overachievers because, you know, sometimes we have to do even a little bit more because of the world that we live in. And we have a lot of overachievers in our history. I always tell people I'm Palestinian like Jesus because he was one of us, all right? He had blonde hair. He didn't have blonde hair and blue eyes. He looked like one of us. He wouldn't be able to get on a plane, okay? He looked one of us. And he was an overachiever. I mean, a pretty big overachiever, actually. I mean, Jesus has kind of messed it up for a lot of, no matter how many Instagram followers Gigi Hadid gets, no matter how many views on YouTube I get, I can never be the most famous Palestinian of all time. Jesus has messed that up for everybody. How do you live up to this guy? When I go to Palestine, they don't understand us. We're all overachievers. You know, this is what the occupation has done weird things to us. It's really turned us. I mean, yes, it's sad and there's a lot of stories, but it means that, you know, we've had to move to other countries and make it work. And then even Palestinians who live there, everyone goes to college and they get educated. There's just no opportunity for them. That's why it's so important to support organizations like the AAAEA, because they actually help a lot of those people if they come here or however they can help them in different places. But we overachieve. So they've turned us into like overeducated, trilingual, bilingual. Everybody speaks Arabic and English, and some of them speak Hebrew too. And so I was sitting in Ramallah with a friend of mine. He has a PhD in computer science, and he's still living in Palestine. And I said to him, man, you're living here. You have a PhD in computer science. You could live anywhere in the world that you want. What are you still doing here? And he said, we are staying here to fight for our freedom from occupation. I said, okay, calm down. I said, okay. Now, one day when you get your freedom, what will you do? He said, I will leave. All they have to do is give us freedom. I don't know, man. And here we are now in America, and it is weird. It is weird. Well, let's just talk about it. It's 2020 now. I've been talking about it for 10 years. The census is coming back again. Now, this is the last chance we have to really get some good numbers. You know, they've been calling us white. You've heard me talk about how they call us white and all that kind of stuff. And we're not white. I love white people. You know, I love white people. We're just not white. Sometimes we marry white people. I know we have a member of the audience tonight, Saad. You heard him talking before, Saad and Lisa. Can we get Saad and Lisa on the screen for a second? Look at this beautiful couple here. See, look at this beautiful interracial couple. You know, wonderful. Now, here's something I know. Keep it on them. Here's something I know. No, keep it on them. Here's something I know about Saad and Lisa, okay? Lisa was living a nice white life in Wisconsin, all right? Everything was fine. It was kind of boring. Uneventful, okay? She runs into this immigrant, this beautiful olive-skinned immigrant one day. And she falls in love, and I don't blame her. But her life changed, okay? His life didn't change that much, okay? This is what happens. When we marry somebody, they become more Arab. We don't become more white. We are contagious, okay? Her life changed. Her life changed. His life didn't change. She was just living a regular life, and then all of a sudden, now her life is different. Now she's dancing in circles. She has 75 cousins. She's learning math that she never learned before. 1948, 1967, 1994. All these numbers she never heard in her life before. She's kissing people when she meets them for the first time. Okay, this is part of our culture. First time kissing. This is why listen, luckily in some of the Arab countries, we haven't had a lot of corona. They think it's because of some other reasons, vaccines in the past. But if corona hit us hard, oh my God, we don't know. Social distancing? you kidding me? I mean, we kiss each other 7 times, multiple times a day. Okay. If I one of my friends, Hussam, is out there in Texas. If I see Hussam in the morning for coffee, I'm kissing him. If I see him at lunch, I'm kissing him again. Okay. If I see him for dinner, I'm kissing him 5 times in 5 years. Okay. This is who we are. Do you know how quickly saliva travels in our population? I mean, if Corona hits Arabs, that's it. It's a wrap. They can do whatever they want. And we've been, it's amazing, bro. But you know what the safest place? Look, Corona started really spreading. Why? Because the world is small now. People fly places. They flew into New York from China or Italy or whatever, and just like people are just literally, we're on top of each other all the time. And you know what the safest, least infected place during all this Corona time was? What? Gaza. Yeah. Because nobody can get in or out. It's under complete blockade. No, it's been one of the safest place. There's been no cases. None. No one has. They've been. They were asking. They were jealous. Like, why are we not getting? Why? I mean, once again, we are oppressed. The world is not giving us Corona. Corona. Gaza, I've never been to Gaza. I don't know if anyone out there in the audience is watching from Gaza. I love you, my brothers and sisters in Gaza. We stand with you all the time, but you're stronger than I know, man. See, I live in Dearborn, which is right outside of Detroit. And Detroit is an interesting American city. Detroit 40 years ago had 2 million people. And then there was lots of economic problems and people left. And now Detroit only has 700,000 people. It's a very sad story. And that means a lot of parts of Detroit are, empty, abandoned. It just doesn't look very good. And I had a few years ago, I was in Ramallah doing a comedy show. And then I wanted to do a comedy show in Gaza. But of course, I wasn't allowed into Gaza for the reasons that we know. And I decided that I would Skype a comedy show while I'm in Ramallah to a group of young people in Gaza, and they were all in their 20s, and they all spoke English and understood English very well because they had all taken a trip to America before. And I finished the show, and then one of the young ladies, she wanted to ask me a question over Skype, and she said to me, "You are from America?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Where do you live in America?" I said, "Detroit." And she said, "Oh." And I said, "Okay." And she said, "I came to America and I went everywhere in America. And America is a beautiful country. And then I came to Detroit and I saw Detroit. And I said to myself, what can the people of Gaza do to help the people of Detroit?" So if you want to understand how bad Detroit is, what you got to know is that some people from Gaza walk around Detroit and go, "Wow, it's pretty messed up here. People live here? That's crazy." So I know a lot of you in America are having fundraisers for Gaza during Ramadan, and I want you to know in Gaza, they are having fundraisers for Detroit to make sure that they help us as much as they can. The Palestinians are strong, man. Arab Americans are strong. We got the census this year. We got to make sure we fill out the census. We're not white. I want to start a rally here tonight on Facebook. I want everyone in the audience to say it with me. 1, 2, 3. We not white. That's right. Yes. All you engineers out there, all you engineers who disappointed your parents and became engineers and not doctors. I want you to really feel we're not white. We deserve a box. We deserve a box. Do you agree? Yes?
Absolutely.
Yes. I want a box. I want a box. Now, this year, for the first time ever, they're asking us to specify. The U.S. government never used to ask you to specify what kind of white person you are. But this year, for the first time, you can specify what kind of white person you are. So there's a white box and it says white, please specify. And you can write in like Polish or Italian, because I guess white people care now what kind of white people they are. So like Polish or Italian and all this kind of stuff. And you can do that. And they even give you examples to write Lebanese and Egyptian in the white thing, because they still do consider us white. But what we're telling everybody to do is go down to where it says some other race and write in your country, because then we'll get really good numbers of all the Arabs in America and where they're from. And we'll know the fact that they checked other. So in the future, we'll be able to tell the government, hey, we don't see ourselves as white. So please, give us a box eventually. But we're not white. I mean, I keep seeing things all the time that makes me really know we're not white. I talk about all the time. I knew I wasn't white when I went to my lunch as a kid, when I was a kid. These white kids had cool lunches like Wonder Bread with peanut butter and jelly, little bag of Doritos, a little juice box. Not my mom. Okay, not my mom. You know what I had for lunch? Have you ever had a matlube sandwich? Okay. That's what I had for lunch. Whatever was for dinner the night before magically became a sandwich the next day. You can't trade that stuff with the white kids, all right? They had Doritos. Do you know what my mom gave me? Visit sunflower seeds. There's no way a 7-year-old looks cool at lunch going, yeah, I like my lunch. It's really good. This is what we go through. I know we're not white, okay? As a kid, I knew it. And then I grew up and I got through all, and I see it now today. We don't do things like white people. White people they're different than us, man. They're more honest. They're more honest. They don't ask messed up questions like we do. We ask messed up questions. We have no boundaries over like white people have boundaries. White people keep their money secret and they talk about sex openly. We're the opposite. We keep sex secret and we talk about money openly. Okay, this is who we are. We don't have sex before we get married. That's how it is in our culture. In fact, we love our culture so much that sometimes we don't even have sex after we get married. That's how much we love our culture. We're different, man. We talk about money openly. We ask questions. We'll walk into somebody's house who just got a new house. Wow, you just got the brand new house? Congratulations. How much you pay for it? Just tell me how much you make a year before taxes. I will not tell anybody, I promise. We have no shame. We're just different. We buy houses different. Okay, we buy houses different. White guy, when a white guy buys a house, it's very logical. He walks into the house, are the schools good? Is the neighborhood safe? Are the taxes low? It's very logical. Not us, man. We walk into a house, different criteria, totally. Yeah, very nice house. I like it. It's beautiful. How far is Costco? That's one of the most important things to us. We give directions different. White people very clear with their direction. You're going to go down Interstate 94. You're going to get off exit 273. You're going to take a left on Maple Street. Then you're going to take a right on Flower Street, and we're going to be 547 Flower on the left. That's going to be our house. Not us. First of all, Arabs in America, please, can you give directions like Americans, especially when it's like to your kids and stuff? My uncle one time was giving me directions. He said, okay, you're going to go maybe like 5-6 kilo. I'm like, what the hell is a kilo? I don't know what a kilo is. I grew up in America. We're talking about kilo. Is that like 75 miles? I have no idea. What is that? You're going to go 3-4 kilo, and then you're going to maybe second light, third light. I don't know. You take a right. And, then you're going to see a tree, very big tree, okay, very, very big. And then after that tree, you're going to see my house, black BMW, white Mercedes. We describe our houses by our cars. This is how much we love our money. We put it right on the street, man. We don't put our cars in the garage. Our cars go in front of the house. So people know what kind of car. Let me tell you something. If you know an Arab and he puts his car in the garage, that means he's got a cheap ass car. It means his car. Okay? It's a cheap car. We have a nice car. I have a nice car. Guess what? It sits in the driveway all the time. I want people to know. I want people to know that that's the house with that car. That's what we do, man. We show. We love that stuff. We're different. Our art is different. You know, all of you out there, a lot of you are Arab Americans. You love Kulthum. I love Kulthum. You know, white people are different with their song. White guy can be like, hey, man, do you have like 20 minutes? I want you to listen to this album. It holds like 7 or 8 songs. Arabs are different. Do you have 45 minutes? I have a song I want you to listen to. Just one song for Kulthum. It will sound like she's repeating, but actually it's a little bit. And it's very artistic. We're different. We're different. We're different. We have a lot of history. Arabs have a lot of history. See, people don't understand, especially in Palestine. It's a very historic place. You know, very, very historic. You go to Jerusalem. Jerusalem is a city that's been around for thousands of years. There's streets there from centuries ago. See, Arabs, we don't think in terms of like decades. We think in terms of centuries, millennia. You know, it's just long. I was talking with a friend of mine the other day. He's like 35 years old. I said, do you like Kulthum's songs? He said, yeah, the new ones, not the old ones. She's been dead 40 years. She's been dead 40 years. But I know what he meant. He meant like from the 60s and 70s, not the 30s. We think in long terms, you know. Look, you go to Jerusalem, there's a street in Jerusalem for Salah ad-Din Street in Jerusalem. He has a street. He's been dead 1,000 years. He has a street. Okay. There's a street in Jerusalem for Ali ibn Abi Talib, the Prophet Muhammad's cousin. He's been dead 1,400 years. He has a street. There's a street called the street of Imra'ul Qais. Imra'ul Qais was a poet before Islam. He's been dead like 1,700 years, and he has a street. That's how we think. See, in America, nobody understands that. In America, somebody says to you, this building is 100 years old. And then you're sitting in Jerusalem and you're eating a falafel sandwich and you say to the owner of the place, tell me about this place. And he says, well, Jesus ate there. Like, all right, that's old. That's really old. We have history, man. That's why we know we're not white. And I know we're not white because I watch the news. Now, I say this all the time, but for those of you who don't know, Arabs, we watch the news all the time, all right? It's like a social activity for us. We call our friends over, we make coffee, we take out the popcorn, and we watch the news because we're on it, okay? It's like our TV show. Our reality show is the news. We might even see somebody that we know. You know, it is. That's what we do. Watch the news. We yell at the news. We talk to the news. We WhatsApp each other about the news. That's all we do is just the news. And I know we're not white because I watch the news. They have different words they use for white criminals. Disturbed, deranged, delusional, depressed, all these nice D words they use for white people. There's a different word they use for us. What's the word they use for us, everybody?
Terrorist.
See how everybody on Facebook, see how quick they all said it? They're programmed. Terrorist. But that's not the only word they use for us. Another word they use for us, and that word is mastermind. Something about being Arab or Muslim makes you very smart. Mastermind. We're always the. There was the shooting a couple years ago in Las Vegas. You remember that?
Of course.
Yeah.
Shooting
in Las Vegas. That guy planned his crime. By the way, he planned his crime. He went back and forth into the hotel in Vegas like for 7 days with more guns and more suitcase and more ammunition. And then he waited till everybody was at the festival and he broke the window and he shot people. He killed 60 people and wounded 600 more. And the next day on the news, they said he liked country music. That was the headline. He liked it. Then there was the guy in Charleston, South Carolina. Remember him that he walked into the black church? Remember him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He planned his crime. He pretended to pray with black people for an hour. And then he got up and he shot everybody and he left one of them alive so she could tell everybody what happened. And the police caught him the next day and they bought him a hamburger and they brought him back to the station. And Lindsey Graham, the senator from South Carolina, said he's just a little crazy. Just a little crazy. Then there was the kid in Parkland, Florida. Remember him when all the demonstrations from the young people came out from Parkland, Florida? He killed 17 people on Valentine's Day, and somehow they got a hold of his medical records, and they said he was depressed. Haram, depressed. And 2 weeks, CNN talked about depression. And then there was one of us 3 years ago in New York City. He rented a van in his own name. He drove down the street. He ran over 10 people. He jumped out of the van with a fake gun. They shot him and they arrested him. And CNN said, they have caught the mastermind. Guy's he's not a mastermind. He's an idiot. Okay? He's an idiot. We have idiots too. We have disturbed, deranged, delusional, depressed idiots too. It's not fair that white people get to be all the disturbed people, okay? I know, I get it. White guys are only like 30% of the American population, but they're like 95% of mass shooters. They're overperforming in the mass shooter category. Statistically crazy. I mean, they're doing very well. You ever notice after, I mean, it's sad that we have these mass shootings all the time, but you ever notice after they have the mass shooting, they always go like to the it's always a white guy. It's always a white guy with a manifesto. You know, he has like a 7-page manifesto and they always say he snapped. Oh, just today he did this. He snapped. No, he didn't. He wrote a manifesto. When you write a manifesto, you don't snap. It means you were thinking about it for a long time. They always have a manifesto, and they always go to his neighbors, and they always, they ask his neighbors and his family about him, and it's always a white neighborhood, and they always say the same thing. We're so shocked by this. This is such a surprise to us. How about this? This is my favorite one. We never thought that this would happen in our community. Okay, your community is the only community this shit happens in. It doesn't happen in other communities. You're the community. And I don't know what it is. I think they have a different definition of a good neighbor too. Okay, he's such a good neighbor. I haven't seen him for 5 years. They think that's an amazing neighbor. I live in Dearborn, okay? My street here is all Arabs, okay? If Ali doesn't see Hussein for like 45 minutes, she calls the cops. Somebody come over. She's supposed to be smoking on the veranda right now. I don't know where she is. And they say this, isn't that beautiful? We never thought this would happen in our community. What a nice white thing to be able to say, and nobody calls them on it. I live here in Dearborn. We have neighborhoods here that are 90% Arab. When somebody on that street gets arrested for 150 counts of Medicare fraud, when they interview me on CNN the next day, I do not say, I never thought that would happen. That's exactly the kind of shit that I think would happen in my community, because it happens every week. You gotta feel bad. Listen, I know white people are in charge in America, and but you gotta feel bad for them. You gotta feel bad because now America is becoming browner. It's becoming like more multicultural, and finally it's like cool to be something here in America. It's even a little cool to be Arab, it's a little cool, and people want to be stuff. And because here's the idea of America. The idea of America really started out as, you come here and you like forget where you came from, and then you just become American. And that worked out fine as long as it was only like black and white people. And then like brown people started showing up, and Chinese people and all these other people. And then it became cool to like be something, you'd be a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And so white people started doing these ancestry tests. These ancestry tests, where like you like swab your mouth and then you send it away, and they mail you this pie chart that tells you what your race is. You can just pick a race from the pie chart. And white people love this. They're just hoping it comes back like a little black, a 132nd Native American, something, so they can say, you got to watch these Ancestry.com commercials. It's the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. You just can't. I watch these commercials all the time. Our whole life, we thought we were German. And then I took my Ancestry.com test, and I found out that I'm 24% Italian. And now we go to the Olive Garden and we eat spaghetti. And it's like, that's not how it works. Okay, you don't just get to pick whichever one you are. All right. There's one commercial where this white lady comes on. Her name is Kim. Says, "My name is Kim, and I took my Ancestry.com test. And what surprised me the most is I found out that I'm 26% Native American. I had no idea." Now, listen, I'm not a genetic specialist. I don't have a PhD in biology or anything, but 26%, that's a lot. That's like a whole grandparent. I know where my grandmother's from. I know where my grandmother's Kim had no idea. Okay. And let me tell you something. If you're white and your family didn't tell you that your grandmother is Native American, that's not a good story. Okay. That's like a bad story. Somebody got kicked out of somewhere. Somebody stole somebody. It's not good. I'm waiting for the Ancestry.com commercial where somebody is happy to find out that they're Arab. Yeah, never going to see that commercial on TV. Our whole life we thought we were Puerto Rican, and then I took my Ancestry.com test, and what surprised me the most is I found out that I'm 26% Arab, and now we go to the airport early, and we're not white, all right? We're not white. I wish we were. It seems like the best thing to be. But I know we're not. Now, I as a lot of people know, I worked on a presidential campaign this year. I worked on a presidential campaign for a guy named Bernie Sanders. And unfortunately, he's not running for president anymore. Although you never know in American politics what could happen. People ask me why I was out there working for Bernie Sanders. I figured, we had a Muslim president for 8 years, so now it's time for a Jewish one. And Barack Hussein Obama. Okay, I mean, come on. People would call me all the time, and they still did it even during this election, where I even had to write an article about it. People say to me, how could Arabs support a Jewish guy? How does that happen? Okay. Now, first of all, that's a very racist question, okay? We're not born anti-Semitic, okay? We become that way. No, I'm just kidding. We're not. We don't hate anybody. We love everybody. There are the Palestinian cause. There are a lot of us who go to Einstein Bagels. We love everybody. We don't discriminate. We see people for who they are. And guess what? There's a lot of Arab Jews. And there's been Jews in the Arab world forever. We don't think about these things when we judge people, when we look at people, we look at their actions and who they are. And we don't think like that. It's a very racist question to ask us how we could be supporting the Jewish guy. The truth is, we're very, very similar. In Arabic, we call Jews Awlad Amna, which means our cousins. And we're being serious. We view ourselves as biblical cousins. It's true. Awlad Amna. We're really very similar. We're very similar. Big nose, crazy mom, hairy. That's men and women. Hairy. The only difference is they are chosen by God. And we are chosen by the FBI. That's really it. Other than that. I mean, I don't get it. It's hard being one of us, especially in this world. Muslim ban, and all this kind of stuff is difficult. And especially for me, I mean, now, there's a lot of reasons I do comedy shows. I do them to make sure that we tell our story as Arab Americans. I do them to make sure that we support organizations like the AAAEA. And again, make sure that you give tonight to AAAEADC.com so they can do what they can to help those affected by COVID-19. And if you're an Arab American engineer or architect, I don't think there's any actual architects in the organization, but if there's any engineers, I think architect they just added it on, but they just needed another A, AAAE sounds good. AAAEA, that sounds cool. What's A? Architect. So they just, But if you are out there, and even if you're an engineering student or you're thinking of becoming an engineer, whatever it is, join this organization. I've never seen a professional Arab American organization that really networks and really builds off of each other's successes and connections like this organization does. So join this organization, give to them so they can help those who are affected by COVID-19, and give to them also because they do have a scholarship program every year where they give out scholarships, and you saw a couple of the recipients today, where they give out scholarships to young Arab Americans who are going to college to study engineering and these kinds of things. So make sure you stay connected with this organization. I also want to give a shout out to our man behind the scenes today, Hussein Hashim and What's Up Media in Dearborn, who are putting together, directing this beautiful thing where you see an audience and you see people flashing back and off and forth the screen. That's all done by our great man, Hussein Hashim, What's Up Media. So make sure you support him too. And there'll be links to that in the Facebook event and the Facebook pages. I do these kinds of events. I haven't done a virtual comedy event like this yet because I didn't know whether it was going to work. You know, but with the energy that not only that I'm feeling from those with me in the audience, but those everybody out there too in the world, I think it's going to be a big success. And so I do our events like that for that. But there's another reason that I do comedy shows around the country and around Palestine and the whole Arab world, and even here virtually. And that's because I'm now 42 and I am still single. My mom thinks I'm gay. She has no evidence. I mean, look, there's nothing wrong with being gay. I'm just not, I'm just not. And she has no evidence. She calls me. She called me a few years ago is when she first asked me about this question, and right before I turned 40, and she called me and I picked up the phone. Hi, Amer. I said, hi, Mom, and she said, and she said to me, Amer, I am your mother. And I said, okay. She said, you can tell me anything. She said, no matter what it is, I will love you. I will accept you. You can tell me anything. I said, what is it? She said, are you gay? It's okay. Just tell me. That's how it started. Now she talks to me like I'm a suspect on Law and Order. Like she you know how like detectives talk on TV? Now she says things to me like, says, Amer, you will feel better when you tell me. Because now she thinks I'm keeping a secret from her. She's already accepted that I'm gay. I'm not gay, but she's accepted that I'm gay. She's gone past that. Now I think she's going to feel like traumatic if I'm not gay. So I'm just not saying anything. But she's mad that I'm keeping a secret from her. That's why she's mad now. You will feel better. ترتاح. لا عشانك مش عشاني. You will feel better. She tries to trick me on the phone. She says, she called me a few months ago. She said, Amer, are you dating any girls? I said, no. She said, others? In June, I made a big mistake in June because June is Gay Pride Month. Okay, it's the Gay Pride Month, and on my Instagram, and follow me on Instagram, it's at Amer Zahr, AMERZAHR. And in June, I posted a picture of a rainbow flag on my Instagram, and I said, look, as Arabs and Palestinians, we have to stand with anyone if they're oppressed, and this is the day that they're commemorating their identity. And also, we have gay Arab Americans, so we should stand with everybody, and no matter what. And people started writing all kinds of things on my Facebook, on my Instagram. feed, writing a lot of mean comments. And then my mom called me. And she said, Amer, what is this? I said, what, Mom? She said, people are so mean. I said, I know, Mom. She said, this is how you are coming out and telling everybody that you are gay. I said, no, Mom. That is not what's happening. She said, I'm going to comment and tell them that I accept you no matter what you are. I said, no, Mom. Stop it. But it's hard, man. It's hard. It is hard. And this is the last thing I'll say before I go. I don't know if I'm going to get married one day. I have no idea. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. I really don't know. But I do know that it's very hard when you go to Palestine or probably anywhere in the Arab world. It's very hard to be a single, male, heterosexual, straight man. It's very difficult. Let me explain why. Because things are different. I'm American. I'm Arab too, but I'm American. And this is what I learned. In America, if a man and a woman are walking down the street holding hands, that's totally normal. If two men are walking down the street holding hands, it's still kind of weird. In Palestine, if a man and a woman are walking down the street holding hands, it's kind of weird. If two men are walking down the street holding hands, it's totally normal. Now, I didn't know that. So I was walking down the street with a friend of mine in Jerusalem, and he wanted to talk to me, so he grabbed my hand. But I'm American. So I said, hey, man, stop it. He said, no, it's okay. It's okay. I said, it's not okay. Don't touch me. He said, no, you can hold my hand. I said, I don't want to hold your hand. And then he gave me the most Arab Palestinian logic answer I've ever heard in my life. He said, come on, hold my hand. What's wrong? Are you gay? So I held his hand. Yeah? And I started kissing him too, just so everybody knows. Anyway, everyone out there in the world, I love you. Let's stay strong through all of this. Make sure you give to the AAAEA. Let's protect each other, man. My Palestinian immigrant refugee dad said it the best. He said, we used to think that if you get sick, that's your problem. Now we know if you get sick, that's my problem. So we are all in this together. I love you all out there. Give, support each other, support your neighbors, and see you all soon. Bye-bye. Love you out there. Love you, love you, love you, love you.
And to close this out, I want to thank everybody for joining this live stream, and a big, big thank you to Amer Zahr. Thank you so much for hosting this event and for giving back to your community. Amer has been a very strong supporter and a member of the AAAEA for years now, and we just want to thank everybody for joining this live stream. And please, if you are joining, please think about donating down to this link right here. It's somewhere down here, to the AAAEA, even if it's not for the coronavirus, but also just for this organization who just constantly gives back to its community. So thank you again so much, Amer, and everybody on this live stream. Thank you all, and have a good night.